All right, testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. I want to thank everybody for coming out to the Springboro Tea Party's Reaffirmation of the Bill of Rights rally. This has been in planning for a little while, and we've been putting a lot of time and effort into it, and every last penny we could to try to get this bad boy to happen. So if anybody has good favor with the man upstairs, say a little prayer, and hopefully we have clear skies throughout the whole event. Okay, everybody, thank you for sticking it out. We have 2 more speakers, and then definitely wrap it up. And then, like I said, I know Ben over here has got so much information to process, I feel sorry for the guy. But thank you so much, Ben Mersch from the Springboro Star-Press and Miami Valley newspapers, for being a fair and honest reporter. And I trust him with the content of all my stuff because of the fact that he's proven himself to be possibly the next Ben Swann. So let's hopefully that might be the case. And thank God for Ben Swann. He's one of the few new guys that have come up and actually started holding honest debates on particular things and reporting the news instead of trying to fabricate it. And it's about time that some people start following him. And we have more people like Woodward and Bernstein who went after Nixon when he did something wrong and called him on it. So that's definitely a must. Okay, we have 2 more speakers. We have John Anderson as well as Hannah Faulkner. And then I'll do my closing remarks and we'll adjourn for the rest of the day. John Anderson, obviously a strict constitutionalist from my understanding. He's also been a congressional candidate against Mike Turner, the evil Mike Turner we seem to have been using as a good target at this particular point. And it's time for him to get out. I know too many people vote for Turner just because he was a former mayor of Dayton. BS. It's time for him to go. And we need to start having good people such as John Anderson come up and say, hey, it's time to get some fresh blood in there and start asking some honest questions. And you see what happens when you get a couple of honest congressmen, such as Ron Paul, get called a kook, and someone like Jim Traficant, who goes and reins in the IRS, gets a bullseye on his back for telling the truth about how much money we're giving to Israel and any other government. And that's unacceptable. All right, next up, John Anderson.
Thank you very much. I want to thank the Springboro Tea Party for giving me the opportunity to speak today. I am John Anderson, and I have run for Congress in the past in 2010 and 2012. 2012, I ran in the Republican primary, and I basically got 25% of the vote, minus 7% of a Democratic crossover in the city of Dayton, which brought my total down to 18%. But basically, I got 25% of the vote in the Republican primary against Mike Turner, which means that I got every intelligent Republican voter that was knowledgeable. I got every conservative and every libertarian. They definitely turned out and voted for me. The problem was not enough of the right people turned out to vote. Only 1 out of every 4 eligible voter actually voted. So I only got 1 out of the 4 that actually did vote. But I'm greatly appreciative to those 14,044 people that actually voted for me in the Republican primary against Mike Turner. And what I want to say, since it's being broadcast through all of Southwest Ohio, if you want to elect a new congressman, I'm the person you can do it, because next May I am going to run against Mike Turner again in the Republican primary. And if each of the 14,000 people will find 2 other Republicans or conservatives or libertarians to take with them to the polls, I will win the primary. It's that simple. Because I know those 14,000 plus people are going to continue to vote for me because they know what they're doing and they're knowledgeable. They are not low information voters. So I would like to say to the people of Southwest Ohio, on a real personal basis, I think all of you out there know your government is completely broken. Your federal government is completely out of control. And one of the reasons it's out of control is because people that you've elected are not following the Constitution, which was set up by our founding fathers to protect us and keep us from harm. They set up the Bill of Rights also to protect us from an out-of-control federal government. That Constitution, those Bill of Rights are being trampled. We must never forget that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Both establishment parties, the wings of those parties are basically the same. They have the same general philosophy. They both believe in big government, authoritarian centralized control, endless war, a giant welfare bailout state, mostly for their rich insider corporate cronies and banking cronies. They couldn't care less about your rights. They couldn't care less about you. All that matters to them is staying in power, getting more power, and lining their pockets at your expense. That's what's happening. They're looting the country, they're destroying your heritage and your children's future. They've decided that they're the masters of the people. They're no longer your servants. You have to change that. I'm now speaking to the voters who are watching this, who live in Montgomery County, Greene County, and who live out there in Fayette County. Half of Fayette County is in the 10th Congressional District. So you need to make a change next May. And I'm the person that would be a radical change, because we must bring that scam to an absolute end. And the only way you're actually going to bring that to an end is by electing somebody new. You can't keep re-electing the old incumbents because you know their name or you're voting on the basis of the party. I would represent all of the people in this district. I am a real American. I'm an old-time American. Anybody who knows me knows how rational and effective I am. I've been a government Air Force manager now for over 36 years, serving the United States Air Force. I've been a program manager. I've actually managed billions of your tax dollars very effectively. I've supported your weapon system to defend the United States of America. Everyone who knows me knows that John Anderson always gets the job done. That's my record. I've been an F-16 supporter good manager. I was a B-1 supporter good manager. I was a C-17 supporter good manager. And I've worked other systems that I really can't even discuss. We have a situation in place that our founding fathers realized what happened to us. There was a good potential for it to happen to us when they set up our Constitution. This completely out of control government. To a large extent, I don't think the Constitution has been completely trashed today, because in some cases it saved us. The founding fathers set up this delicate balance between the three branches as a system of checks and balances to prevent anybody from accumulating too much power and getting out of control. Well, that balance has been knocked off course, and you need to elect someone like me to go in there and put it back together again. Trust me, if I got to Washington, it would be like a hurricane blowing in. That would never, ever be the same. Because today we have the most corrupt, ignorant, non-accountable president and Congress in American history. It's never been this bad. And you, the people out there, you know that is the case. We haven't had an approved federal budget in 5 years. We operate on a month-by-month basis of massive federal deficit spending and borrowing and increasing the debt ceiling. It's completely out of control. We have insider Federal Reserve bankers that are making a fortune off of this deficit scheme. Every time they borrow a dollar or create a dollar, they make a profit. And there's absolutely nothing in the Constitution that authorized that. The Federal Reserve was set up in 1913, and that needs to be eliminated, and the Congress needs to go back and take over its constitutional responsibility of regulating the money supply and take it away from the private bankers. The Federal Reserve is not a public institution. It is a private banking system run for profit. Understand that clearly, please. We have to cut three big, massive monsters that have developed. The welfare state, primarily the corporate welfare state for the corporate bankers and the corporate interests. We need to cut the warfare state, the perpetual war that gets us involved in wars that are none of the United States business, has no constitutional basis whatsoever. We need to stop policing the whole world. It doesn't work. It never has worked. It never will work. And we need to get rid of the national security state, whereas people have said every American is looked upon as a possible suspect today, and you're surveilled. There's no reason the government should ever have that power. We need to get back and reinstitute the Fourth Amendment. The government's only allowed to look at you if they have probable cause and a search warrant. Otherwise, they need to stay out of your life. Now, the corporate and the banking special interests, they're the ones that are supporting these schemes. They're not going to do it. They're going to keep the same people in power. And Mike Turner, they're going to send him back again, and they're going to expect you to be stupid and just vote for him because he was the mayor of Dayton. Well, he's been a horrible congressman. He's done nothing. What has he achieved in the Congress? He sits there, draws a paycheck, occupies space, and wastes time, and waits for instructions from John Boehner and the other special interests. Well, that's not John Anderson. John Anderson has always made a difference. I'm my own man. I'll make these changes. I'll be on every one of them 24/7. I would live in my office, and I would literally kick their butt on a daily basis to save our country and get this mess under control. We need to clean it up and clean it out. Real Americans have never chosen the path of surrender. John Anderson will never, ever surrender. I love this country more than my own life, period. And I will do anything I can to make sure it does not go down the drain. And I think I see all these young people that are hoping for a future life. Well, their life is not going to be anything if you, the average American, don't wake up in this district and across the country and start making some changes. And I mean now. We're running out of time. We have a national debt that's totally out of control, and it gets worse every day. And I'll tell you, this is reality. If we actually pass amnesty for illegal aliens, we will bring in millions of people who, unfortunately, have been also trapped. They just want a better life. But if we bring in people that are under 40, who barely have a 10th grade education, who can't speak English, they're going to end up on the welfare system, end up in the entitlement state. At the same time, we have our baby boomers all retiring like my age. We already have an unfunded liability for our entitlement programs that we can't afford. That's killing the country. And now we're going to bring in more people that we can't take care of? That's absolute insanity. You, the average American, don't want it. I don't want it. We need to make sure it doesn't happen. We don't want our country destroyed. Therefore, I just want to let everybody know I will be a candidate next year for Congress in the 10th District, the Republican primary. Mike Turner has to go. He hasn't done the job. He's been in office now forever. He votes for all the debt ceiling increases. He's totally irresponsible. He has no solutions to any of this except to stay in office. And there are three big things that John Anderson has got to get done. We need to change America completely. A balanced budget amendment so they can't borrow money we don't have. Number two, the other thing we need is a term limits amendment to get rid of career people that stay in Congress and the Senate forever. Those two things will essentially change American government forever. We must need to pass them. You, the average American, know that. You got to balance your budget. The government's got to do the same thing. We know that if someone stays in office forever, what's going to happen? Look at what we've got. We're going to need to make that change. And the third thing we need to do is completely get rid of our tax system. We need to pass the fair tax, which is a national consumption tax that will replace all of the taxes that you pay. We need untaxed income and untaxed dividends and untaxed business income and personal income. That will radically stimulate the economy, bring in millions of jobs to Americans. 500 major international corporations have said they will relocate their headquarters to the United States if we pass the fair tax. They'll build their next factory here. That's what we need to do. And we need to get rid of things like NAFTA that have sold out the average American, the average worker. You Democrats that work for a living, you blue-collar people, I'm the person you really need to support. I came from Youngstown, Ohio. I'm one of you. I've been in management, but I know what makes the world go, and I will also support your interests. I would be a congressman for all the people. So, saying all those things, I'd like to raise a banner right now that I'm going to use in my campaign starting this year, and it'll extend through the primary. And I want every person in America, every person in this district to see it, and I hope it goes viral across the entire country. And that's we need to abolish the IRS. It is a vampire. It is Count Dracula that needs to go away. And I also want to let all Americans know out there, I've just become aware of this. In the last 6 months, my campaign manager from 2010 was audited 3 times by the IRS. 3 times they were looking at the money that I paid him as part of my campaign, trying to find some dirt on John Anderson. Well, you'll never find a more honest, straightforward person than me who served this country more. You can look all you want. You'll never find anything. And my response to you, members of the IRS, is I'm running again for office, and I want to put you out of existence. Thank you very much.
Now that is one impassioned individual. And that could be you. It could, even if it's this insignificant office such as dog catcher that I put, because the fact that, take for example, Springboro School Board. Dr. Kelly Coles ran as a fiscal conservative, and she got elected with an overwhelming majority. And that while she's in office, she was asking some serious hardcore questions. Where's the money going? Don't worry about it. Where's the money going? Don't worry about it. Where is the money going? Don't worry about it. She's outlasted not only the superintendent, the treasurer, another board member, and she finally started getting some answers about where the money is going. They had a $24 million deficit when the time that she came into office, okay? And then Jim Regano and David Petroni, who both ended up back on the school board recently, brought forth a 12-point plan to get the school fiscally viable again without one job lost. So the school board implemented 10 of the 12 steps that they recommended. They went from a $24 million deficit to a $6 million surplus, and not one job was lost. How about that? That's fiscal responsibility. So I know Kelly's going to be up for re-election soon. She's also been a really big opponent about a Common Core. Unfortunately, she's not here today because of the fact that she had taken ill. But she told me to give a link on the website to a 5-page document that she's authored that really goes in the nuts and bolts about Common Core. This is just as nefarious as it sounds. Just as nefarious as it sounds. Okay.
Give me shelter, don't leave me behind. It's your last life, don't leave me behind. So much pain now, don't leave me alone. Under the cellar door, beneath the floor. So get ready to turn around, 'cause it's your last life to bring me down. So much pain now, I've seen this before. Under the cellar door, beneath the floor. I've had me enough, but I still want some more. Come on, give me some more. I've got no time for love tonight because there's someplace else I'd rather be. A higher place in my so-called society. There's red lights in my rearview mirror and another bridge is burned. There's no turning back, I've reached the point of no return. I've reached the point of no return. I want it all and I want it now. I want my cake and eat it too. I'd like to burn the candle at both ends, it's true. When will it stop? Well, nobody knows. I'm trying to go as fast as I can. There's no end in sight and I wanna do it all again. Come on, let's do it again. Stuck here in no man's land, headed out to parts unknown. I've been under the radar, but now my cover's blown. Looks like my luck's running out this time, and another lesson's learned. There's no turning back, I've reached the point of no return. The man is moving up on me fast, looks like it's the end of the road. I'm not gonna make it home, I got no place to go. There's red lights in